Hi, we're going to be taking a look at a video that is done by Jedediah Bila, okay? Because this lady did a video talking about people's angry reaction when Andrew and Tristan Tate were allowed to travel back to the USA, okay? And she seems to be a little bit confused about the serious charges against them and what it is that people were actually angry about. So let's watch, shall we?
So, I covered the Andrew Tate stuff before, and I see this stuff rolling in that, Andrew Tate is getting on a plane, he's going to Fort Lauderdale. I'm like, okay. I honestly, that was my reaction. All right, so. Then I see the rage coming in. What do you mean he's coming to the United States? He shouldn't be allowed in. I see all these conservatives, right? Fake, saying his air travel should be banned. He shouldn't be allowed in the United States. Somebody's got to do something. And I'm sitting here saying to myself, you want this guy's travel restricted based on what?
Well, based on the fact that he is charged with extremely serious crimes. He's charged with ex-trafficking, he's charged with rape, he's charged with, and admitted to, having sex with underage girls. He's charged with anally and orally raping a girl under the age of 15, and he's also charged with a load of other stuff like money laundering. He's bragged about not paying taxes in various different countries. He's got a string of things that he is charged with, okay, and the danger of letting him into another country is that he's a flight risk, okay. Now, I don't think the Tates should have even been allowed out of prison, okay? I don't think they should have been allowed out of prison, or at least not allowed off of house arrest, because it seems to me that people that are accused of less severe crimes are sometimes held in prison until their trial and during their trial if there's a flight risk. But also, the Tates have tried to intimidate witnesses, okay? Even when Andrew Tate was in prison, he was caught trying to intimidate a witness, because apparently Andrew Tate didn't know that his phone calls were being recorded. But also, when they were allowed to leave Romania, the first place they went to was Florida, and one of the alleged victims lives in Florida. So of all the places, like in the USA, that they could have gone to, they go there. And the first thing they do is take out a restraining order against this alleged victim, saying that she has caused them emotional distress when she hasn't done anything to them. They chose to go to the same country she's in, and they chose to take a restraining order out on her. And again, this is intimidation tactics, okay? Which shows that these guys, not only, are they accused of horrific crimes, and admitted to most of it, but they don't have any remorse, and if they're going to try and bully and intimidate the alleged victims, then no, I do not think, in my opinion, they shouldn't have been allowed out of prison. They definitely should not have been allowed to leave Romania.
Now, you can hate Andrew Tate. Maybe you can't stand what he says. Maybe you can't stand the webcam stuff that came out. Maybe you think he's just a horrible character. Maybe that's your opinion of him. That is you're entitled to have that view. Okay. Still, there was a criminal investigation that went on forever, and things are still going on, but forever. This guy, you understand what happened here? This guy they raided his house multiple times. He went to jail. They then seized all of the cameras around his house, all of the cameras. They seized every electronic device in his house, his computers, his laptops, his cell phones, his everything that could record or store any bit of information. And then they stuck him in a jail cell that probably looked like a horror movie. And for months and months and months and months, they combed through every single thing, looking for something to criminalize him as being involved in human trafficking or sex trafficking, or they were looking. These people wanted him caught and guilty, right? And do you know what they found? Nothing. They found nothing criminal.
And where exactly is your source for they found nothing? They've charged him and kept him in a Romania prison when they found nothing. There's no evidence. Where's your source for that? Okay, because you get a lot of these fans of Andrew Tate who keep saying they've got no evidence, the victims aren't real, the Tates are actually friends with the people that are alleged victims. They're just trying to pin this stuff on him because they don't like his views. You get a lot of this, and do you know where their source for this is? Their source is Andrew Tate himself. Okay, they do no other research other than listening to Andrew Tate. And then, of course, Andrew Tate's fans parrot the same stuff they've heard from Andrew Tate. And I don't understand how anybody could be this stupid. I really don't. It's like, you think there's no evidence against him because the person that is accused of these serious crimes tells you there's no evidence against him. That's your source, is it? That's all we need to do to find out whether there's evidence against somebody, is it? I mean, why do people even get charged and go to trial in the first place if all you have to do is ask the accused person? Like, excuse me, did you traffic all these women? Did you grape anybody? Did you have sex with any kids? And if they say, no, I've never done anything like that, there's no evidence on me, people are just making this up because they don't like me. If the person accused says that, you're just like, oh, right, oh, I see, okay. No need to put you on trial then. It's like, of course he's going to deny it. And Andrew Tate is a compulsive liar. Virtually everything that comes out that guy's mouth, and his brother, is lies, okay? If they told me it was raining outside, I would assume the sun's shining, okay? Virtually everything they say is lies. And as for evidence against the Tates, it's pretty easy to find evidence against the Tates, even online. Like, there is... I mean, they ran a course, Pimp and Hose degree, where they're basically talking about the Loverboy method and how to manipulate young women and teenage girls into doing sex work, okay? You know, how to control their mind, how to, like, make these girls think that they need you.
21.
Vivian's 21, and at this point he's been a girlfriend for 6 years. So you do the math. It means that they met when she was 15 years old.
Her believing she needs you, and this is extremely important, because at the beginning she will need you, but then she won't need you. But you have to keep that fallacy, keep that dream alive. You can go, well, I don't know the account, I don't have the password to the account, I've never set it up before, I don't know how the banking works, I don't have any of my guys' phone numbers, I have nothing. And that's why they don't want to leave, because they're like, oh, well, he has everything, I need him, I have to stay with him, he has everything. It's important, I'm telling you, it's a very important element. Anyway, so tax is another important element to keep control of the girl. You have to fuck the girls. You cannot do a business relationship with a female, and I'll tell you why. Women have sex with somebody. If they're not fucking you, they're fucking somebody else. Now, a woman is always going to be the most loyal to the guy she's fucking, as opposed to anyone else for any other reason. If you have a girl work for you and you say, look, we're going to go, we're going to be business partners, we're going to make money, here's your cut, here's my cut, we're going to work together, blah, 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 blah. Here's the fucking, I've had dudes, I've known loads of guys who've like tried to do a contract with a girl, tried to sit there and talk common sense to a girl. When's the last time talking common sense to a girl has ever worked? Ever. If you're not fucking the girl, she is fucking someone else. And that other person she's fucking is going to have the control over her mind.
Again, control. Control her through money, control her through information, control her through manipulation, control her through sex.
I did is I unplugged their keyboards. I plugged a new one in from me behind the screen. So the chicks would sit there and hit a keyboard that wasn't plugged in. And me and my brother, and eventually some staff I trained, would do all the talking. The girls were just pure, just losers, just laughing and doing this. The titties out. And they're talking to fucking ice cold hustlers. We were taking their money, all of it. And they come and say, what kind of, all of it. We were fucking milking them dry. Women have no clue how to do. They don't have, because they run their looks. They don't have any of the intellect. They have no game. Nothing. Nothing. Nah, you get a man with game and give him a female's body, a female avatar. You will fuck a guy up. I had these guys selling their houses, life savings, loans, all of it to me. Give me it all. So like, and it's basic shit, right? You'd have a guy.
Feel bad or no?
Fuck no. To give a solitary fuck.
That's a voice recording controversial influencer Andrew Tate, a woman in 2015. That audio, along with disturbing messages reading, quote, I loved raping you, are now coming to light as Tate faces sex trafficking charges overseas. Vice World News published the messages and voice notes allegedly made by Tate. We want to warn you, they may be disturbing to some.
You didn't like that I was thinking I can do whatever I want to. That's what it is. I'm the smartest person on this planet. Am I a bad person? Because the more you didn't like it, the more I enjoyed it. I loved how much you hated it. Turned me on. Are you seriously so offended I strangled you a little bit? You didn't pass out. Chill the out. Jesus Christ. I thought you were cool. What's wrong with you?
The accuser included a message apparently sent from Tate reading, quote, "I loved raping you."
Why? I am one of the most dangerous men on this planet. Sometimes you forget exactly how lucky you were to get fucked by me. Would you rather me pin you down and make you do things you didn't like, or would you rather fuck? You didn't like that I was thinking I can do whatever I want to. That's what it is. I'm the smartest person on this fucking planet.
Tate's angels, being the bottom, the two women. I mean, that's what they call them, bro. What y'all say? This is what it reads.
Charlie's, they don't want to say hoes?
Hey, man, listen. These are the women who work for him. They're the Ghislaine Maxwells. If you don't make money, we're going to have a problem. Punch yourself in the mouth until I arrive, because then I'll give you another 10, you incurable slacker. And the other girl says, I'll break you when I get there. And the victim says, what did I do? And the bottom is, you have 1 hour and 10 minutes to disappear. And the victim says, but what did I do? You're down 20%, 4 days since you posted. And she says, if Andrew looks to see you, if you posted TikToks, you won't even have time to pack. You're flying off the balcony straight away.
Run out my ideas. That's right, lock the door, you. You knew I was going to beat the out of you. If you behaved, I wouldn't have to hit you, would I? You don't. Get out. You can't stay in there forever.
I don't go see a lawyer to talk about the law. I walked in there and said, listen, I've committed multiple felonies. Am I going to go to jail? Well, probably. Well, then see ya! That was a female. I went to a man's office, said, I've committed multiple felonies.
There are things we can do. We can try this, we can try that.
No problem.
I make one call, we send somebody else to jail.
He is the new Andrew. He shave his head and he go. I'm like, all right, it's cool. That's the lawyer I want.
Now, you could say, but it's immoral. Okay. That's not criminal. That is not criminal. Immoral is not criminal. There's a difference, right?
That I've committed multiple felonies.
Well, actually, sleeping with 15-year-old children is criminal. It's immoral and it's criminal. Okay. Ex-trafficking, also criminal and immoral. Okay. Now, some people think that sex trafficking means that you basically hit a woman over the head, grab hold of her, drag her into a van, and like kidnap her that way. It's like, no, it's very common for sex traffickers to use the lover boy method to groom young women and teenage girls. Okay, and this is basically because it's but most of the time sex traffickers they prey on the sort of vulnerable. Okay, normally, say, like, girls that have run away from home or that have been in care or sometimes homeless or haven't come from, you know, good families. It's not always the case, but they're more vulnerable because they haven't got anybody that loves them in their life. So they're more willing to believe this fake love from the traffickers, okay? Or as vulnerable people that are more likely to fall for this, all right? So yeah, they sort of they seduce these like girls and young women who, and they convince them that they love them and they make them fall in love with them, and you know they're gonna offer them a really great life and all that. And it's like then when they've sort of got them brainwashed, do they start getting them into sex work and all that? And it's a manipulation tactic.
Andrew met her in London, and she was a new Christian, a very innocent young woman. And Andrew had actually first reached out to her on Instagram because she liked to post of his on traditional family values, traditional values. And she liked that. And so he reached out to her, messaged her, and they met in person in London. And so he specifically connected with her on her desire to have marriage and family, Christian values, traditional values. You know, he lied to her about believing in those things and believing in God. And so their relationship escalated very quickly. He said he was going to marry her. And so he asked her to come to Romania, and she came. But then when she came, all of the little cracks in the story started to show, but he kept lying. So he kept saying that he was only in a relationship with her and they were going to get married. But meanwhile, he is simultaneously in very serious relationship with another woman and also numerous other women. But particularly, there's another woman he was saying the same very serious things about getting married and having children at the same time. And they're living in a house together. So that woman knows Mary Doe is brought here and is obviously not happy and treating her badly. And Mary Doe doesn't know what to believe because Andrew Tate's telling her, oh, just ignore that woman, you know, she's crazy kind of thing. And then meanwhile, he's pushing her boundaries and pushing her boundaries. So he's telling her to take sexual pictures with these other girls. She's saying, I'm not attracted to women. I don't want to do that. I don't believe in that. He's sending her Bible verses about obeying your husband. And so, he tells her it's not about, you know, doing sexual things with other girls. I just want to see that you obey me. I want to see that you'll do something you don't want to do for me. So that's how he was manipulating her and slowly pushing her to do more and more things where she's now taking sexual pictures, engaging in sexual activity with these other women. Ultimately, he really coerces her into a threesome, these other women. And she immediately after is sobbing and hysterical and distressed. And she had to get drunk beforehand and all of this. And he knows all of that. So she was feeling lost and desperate, and like she had sacrificed all her values now for this relationship. And so that also made her feel like she had invested so much she couldn't walk away. She just felt completely hopeless. Like she did not know what to do and how to get out of that situation at all. And she still believed in it, right? She still wanted to believe Andrew loved her. So she still thought that maybe he was just in a relationship with her. And it wasn't until Jane Doe came and said, well, I actually personally met someone else he was dating in Miami. Like I was introduced to her. Like she was able to just finally confirm all the red flags that Mary Doe was feeling, that, okay, no, actually I've been completely lied to.
What was if you can speak to it, what was the end game with Mary Doe of, you know, this human trafficking is one of the charges, of course, that the Romanian authorities are pursuing. What was the end game with Mary Doe?
Well,
why was she brought there under these false pretenses?
As Andrew Tate has said himself, the only reason he gets in these relationships is to put the women on OnlyFans, on webcam. That's the only reason. He even says, I don't even have sex with these women because I like having sex with them. That's just part of the control. I have sex with them to control them, and it's always about webcam. So that was the end game. And then you have Yasmina Penkov, who again was a Christian woman who specifically told Andrew, I have never sent a picture of myself in lingerie. I don't believe in doing that or in doing webcam. I'm a Christian and it's against my values, but I love you. She's been with Andrew for, now at this point, I can't remember, months, maybe almost a year. And she's full-time on OnlyFans, full-time webcam model now. And saying things to him like, I don't care if I found out you were a serial killer, I would stand by you.
And when you say that, even that quote, how do we know that that's a quote that Yasmina said to Andrew?
In text messages, that we have in part of our lawsuit.
And there's a common statement that's being made right now coming from, generally speaking, Andrew Tate supporters, as well as I think the Tate brothers, about how the Romanian charges were dropped. Is that the case?
No, they've never been dropped. The case is ongoing. And this is an important point because the Tate brothers have said multiple times that the case is dismissed, yet now they acknowledge it's not dismissed, and then they claim they're going to return for a court hearing. So why do they continuously lie about easily verifiable facts? I think that should cause everyone pause and to be somewhat skeptical, because either the case is dismissed or it's not. They've said it multiple times that it's dismissed, and now they're saying it's not dismissed. So why are they lying? And now it's not dismissed. There's two separate investigations. The first, which involves Jane Doe and Mary Doe, that had gone all the way to the pretrial stage, and now because some evidence was excluded for procedural reasons, the court sent it back to the prosecutor to redo that indictment. But there's also a second investigation, including 35 victims, including 2 minors. So both of those, in Romania. So both of those are ongoing, and we'll just see a new indictment.
Will they be going to trial, those cases?
Well, we'll see, right? It'll go through the process of, the thing about Romania too is they allow every single court decision to be appealed. So the Tate brothers have appealed every single minute court hearing and decision. So that's a clear delay tactic. They keep acting like this is taking so long because there's no evidence. No, it's taking a very long time because you've appealed every decision. You have a right to do that. That's okay. But don't then say that the delay is caused by a lack of evidence or the prosecution when you are the one disputing every single court decision. So it'll go through, there'll be another indictment. They'll go through the pretrial stage, which happens here too, where you examine the methods by which the evidence was obtained. Was it all done through due process in the correct way? If some things were, great, they stay in. If some things weren't, those would be excluded. And then trial's ready to go on all the evidence. It's already been examined. So then you would just go through the trial with that evidence.
One of the ongoing statements, or the statement that's been made, I've heard multiple times from the Tates, is that there are not victims, or that if there were victims originally called victims, they have since recanted and said we're not victims. We fully agreed to do the TikTok or the OnlyFans or whatever. Is that the case?
No. And again, when they say an absolute statement repeatedly, there are no victims. Andrew has said there's not one victim, not one woman has said that I've done anything wrong or accused me of a crime. That's an absolute statement, and he says it with such force. So if that's not true, then people should be alarmed. Why would you be okay with being lied to? And so the truth is, and this is indisputable, is that there are many victims. Now, some of the victims that are named in the criminal case, like Yasmina, who said, I wouldn't leave you even if I found out you're a serial killer. Well, she says she's not a victim. And the prosecution is still treating her as a victim, which I think is correct, because trafficking is being caused to engage in commercial sex act with fraud and coercion. If they found that the entire pretense of her working on OnlyFans was through lies, and that Andrew Tate has kept all the money, whether she's okay with that or not doesn't change the fact that it was exploitive. But on the other hand, many victims have given testimony. Jane Doe is primarily a witness, right? She was there for a week. But Mary Doe gave detailed testimony about the sexual abuse she suffered. Many of the victims in the remaining case, I've read their testimony, including the 15-year-old girl who provided testimony against Andrew Tate saying, he sexually abused me when I was 15. And she describes really her distress. He took me at this young age of 15 and, sexually abused me. She describes anal sexual abuse, being strangled. And on top of that, there's all of these UK victims. And what's so compelling is that there is consistency in the description of the abuse among many women across countries and across different time periods. So that young 15-year-old described being strangled by Andrew Tate. She doesn't know these UK victims who back in 2016 described being strangled by Andrew Tate. That's a level of corroboration you rarely see. That's powerful evidence. So there's multiple victims that have come forward and described violent sexual abuse in multiple countries.
Are there criminal cases or other civil cases in anywhere else besides Romania right now?
Yes. So there is a criminal case ongoing in the UK. They sought extradition and it was granted. So the Romanian court granted extradition to the UK, saying the Tate brothers will be extradited when the remaining criminal case is resolved. So again, Andrew Tate just went on a podcast and said extradition was denied by the judge. I mean, that's an absolute statement. Again, it's black and white. Either extradition was granted or it was denied. It was granted. Why is he lying? There's court documents that show it was granted. It's been reported many times that it was granted. And then there's also a civil case in the UK on behalf of 4 victims, and those are separate victims from the criminal case.
There is.
Okay, now that was a video done by Lila Rose where she interviews one of the lawyers that are defending some of the alleged victims. So I really recommend, if anybody hasn't watched that video yet, I recommend that you watch it. So I'll link that down below.
Crime is a crime. So they were looking for something criminal. They wanted to put him away. They didn't find it. So they had to let him out, ultimately. You remember that whole thing, and then they were under house arrest, and it went on and on and on. And then finally, they were like, we don't have anything on this guy. Believe it or not, we scanned all the cameras, everything, all the cell phone devices, all the computers, and we didn't find anything. So we got to let him go. So they let him go. Again, you could not like him, but what is the basis to restrict his air travel? He's an American citizen. What is the basis? There is no basis for that. And all the fake conservatives out there who are like, oh my God, clutching their pearls, you cannot like him. You can have the view that Andrew Tate is bad for society. You can have the view that, Andrew Tate's perspective on X, Y, and Z is bad for young people. You can have those views if you want to have them. But
yes, that's right. You can have those views that somebody who traffics young women and teenage girls, beats them and rapes them and scams men out of money and doesn't pay taxes and commits a whole other load of felonies is not good for society, is not good for young people, is not a good role model for young men, yes, of course, you can have those opinions. It's like, okay, when she talks about fake conservatives, I don't know who is and who isn't a fake conservative, because, like, you know, obviously on YouTube and social media and all that, people are only showing you what they want to show you, and you don't know the people, what they're like in real life. But I am more inclined to think that the people that blindly support Andrew Tate are the fake conservatives. How anybody can say that they stand for family values, like when they're supporting somebody who admits having sex with 15-year-old girls. It's like Pearl Davis. She made a video reply after Ben Shapiro made a video explaining why he thinks the right shouldn't support Andrew Tate. Pearl Davis basically made a video saying that the men who say this are just dorks. And I think, like, if you're saying you're a conservative, to then say that men who are married and have families and raise children are dorks, but sex trafficking rapists who abuse 15-year-old girls are alpha males, it's like, that sounds like a fake conservative to me. Very fake. You know, I don't think they can take the moral high ground over people on the left or the liberals, because, like, aren't conservatives always the ones that are sort of saying, like, oh, you know, it's people on the left and it's the liberals that, oh, you know, they're the ones that support hookup culture and OnlyFans and degeneracy and all that. Yet they're the ones, some of them, they're the ones that think a guy who ran a webcam studio where he trafficked young women, teenage girls, beat them, raped them, strangled them, and horrifically abused girls as young as 15, that, oh, he's, not only are they accepting of that, but, oh no, he's an alpha male role model just because he says a few things that are anti-woke. It's like, oh, he's one of us. It's like they're so desperate to latch on to anybody that, like, parrots some of the same views as them, that they don't even care what kind of lifestyle he has. Okay, that sounds like a fake conservative to me.
That doesn't change the reality that there was a criminal investigation and there's been no crime found as of yet, and there was absolutely no basis to restrict this guy's air travel. So get off your high horse. Now, either you care, and I love it, because there's a group of conservatives who care about due process when it's somebody that they like, right? When it was Justice Kavanaugh or whatever it was, you care about the due process. And then when it's somebody you don't like, all of a sudden, there's no due process.
It's the people that support Andrew Tate that are trying to stop due process, okay? Andrew Tate has been charged in Romania with a number of offences, and he has been charged in UK with a number of offences, okay? Well, they're not making stuff up just because they don't like Andrew Tate, okay? It's not, oh, he said some things we don't agree with, or we want to shut him up, so we're going to just falsely accuse him of crimes, okay? This is like, this is over 30 women, and there's a lot of women that have accused him of R-wording them, and as we've heard, he has, like, admitted to a hell of a lot of the stuff that he is accused of, okay? This isn't just coming from nowhere. This isn't people like, oh, we don't like Andrew Tate, so we're gonna just falsely accuse him of stuff.
Conservative, and many of those fake conservatives are now like, Andrew Tate needs to be restricted. He can't come to my state of Florida. Freedom-loving Florida. Freedom-loving Florida? Okay, let's talk about it. Let's go there. Let's go to the Florida Attorney General, because you know what? Somebody's got to say it, so it may as well be me. The Guardian comes out with this article and says, and there's many. You can search all over the internet and see this, but the Attorney General of Florida has opened a criminal investigation of Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan after the pair were able to fly into the state last week despite facing trials in Romania on charges of blah, blah, blah. It goes through the charges. We know. Okay, this new James Uthmeyer, appointed to be the Attorney General by Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, said on Tuesday he had begun an active criminal investigation and he was going to use the full force of the law. Okay, we'll get to that in a second. I want to read the whole thing. Just this section. These guys have themselves publicly admitted to participating in what very much appears to be soliciting, trafficking, preying upon women around the world. Many of these victims are coming forward, some of them minors. People can spin or defend however they want, but in Florida, this type of behavior is viewed as atrocious. We're not going to accept it. Okay, honey, you can pull that down. You sound like a leftist. You sound like a commie, honey. You know why? First of all, why is this guy acting like there wasn't an investigation that's been ongoing? These are not two people that just rolled in and there's all of these accusations and no one's doing. These are people who have been heavily, thoroughly investigated already, right? So you're not stepping in and doing something that's not been done before. And I love this, like, let me get on my pedestal, let me clutch my pearls, and let me say what my audience, the conservatives, want me to say. That's what this is. This is showmanship nonsense. This is nonsense. And honestly, Ron DeSantis should be embarrassed. He's not, because he's a little, listen, I liked a lot of what he did in Florida, but when he got on that, when he ran, I wasn't on air when the whole election stuff was going on, but he looked about this big next to Donald Trump, and we all know it. It's like he was shrinking on the stage. Okay? I was not impressed. Regardless, this is ridiculous to act like this. What are you going to bring to the investigation? Why are they being investigated in Florida? What did they do in Florida? What? Okay. So let's just be honest. This is showmanship, right? Now, and then they say these guys have publicly admitted. They didn't publicly admit to trafficking.
Really? Are you sure about that, are you?
They should kick them out of Romania. Well, yeah, if they want Romanians here, they'll let my come here and human traffic. They should kick me out.
He just admitted, this was saying, he just admitted they let his N-word butt come in and human traffic. And I don't think he meant to do that.
There are loads of videos of them admitting to manipulating young women, teenage girls, coercing them into doing sex trafficking. Okay. And it is very often vulnerable young women and teenage girls that fall for this, okay? And that is normally who traffickers aim for as well. Girls that have run away from home or didn't have good parents, haven't had a good upbringing, so are more desperate for love, so are more likely to fall for the lover boy method because they haven't had good parents, they haven't had people care about them in their life, so they're less likely to realise when the affection is fake and when they're being manipulated than somebody who has had a good upbringing.
They didn't publicly admit to yes, there's some videos out there, and let me tell you something. There are things that these guys have done that I don't support. I'm not an advocate of webcam. I don't think that's good for society. I don't think that's good for women. I don't think that's good. I could go on and on about adult women making their own decisions about these things and having the right to do that, right? And not babying them and letting them make their good and bad decisions, and adult engagements in business partnerships, and that being in a legal way. And I can make a moral judgment on that and say it's bad for society, but I can't call it criminal just because I got my feelings hurt by something that Andrew Tate said to me once.
This is nothing to do with, like, Andrew Tate saying something that hurt people's feelings. It's criminal because he lied to these women and abused them and stole money from them and didn't pay taxes and what he was doing was illegal, okay? This isn't, people can do OnlyFans legally, but that's not what he was doing. He broke the law, and there's numerous videos of him admitting to that.
Grow a pair, people out there. Really. And then this is really, my favorite part is when he says, oh, the victims have come forward, many of them minors. Are we now in a place as conservatives, supposed conservatives, phonies, by the way, where somebody says something and makes an accusation and it's valid? Do we want to go back? How come with Justice Kavanaugh, though? How come with him? How come with Donald Trump? How come with certain people the accusations were just innocent until proven guilty, and you can't just make an accusation and have it be believed as true? Why is this guy different?
I would say he's different because he's admitted to all the crimes that he's accused of in the past, okay? And he treats his fans like idiots and just keeps lying to you, thinking that you won't just look at his old video footage, and the stuff that is out there that, where he is basically admitting to this, okay? There are text conversations that Andrew Tate has had with teenage girls. He's admitted to sleeping with a 15-year-old girl. Now, you say, like, oh, we don't just believe the word of women and it's innocent until proven guilty. Yeah, but that doesn't mean that you don't take these allegations seriously. Like, if somebody's come forward and said that they were R-worded when they were 15 years old, and yes, those allegations are very serious, they should be looked into. People again keep saying like, oh, but he's not been convicted. He's not been convicted. It's innocent until proven guilty. Due process and all that. And it's like, he cannot be proven either innocent and guilty until he has gone to trial. Okay, and the reason he has not gone to trial yet is because he keeps running away. Okay, he fled from the UK because he didn't want to get in trouble there, but then he got in trouble in Romania, and now he's fled back to the USA. Whether he's going to go back to Romania or not, don't know. All right, but him being charged, that is due process, okay? And like, yeah, it is innocent until proven guilty, but there are some cases where the evidence is absolutely overwhelming, okay? And this is one of them. Like, do you really think that, like, if all the videos of Tate self-snitching and admitting to, like, lying to women and conning women and manipulating women, videos of him, like, hitting women, and it's not all consensual. We saw that video where the woman runs away and locks herself in the bathroom. Voice recordings of him saying that he loved strangling this woman, text conversations with one of the alleged victims where he said he loved R-wording you, the fact that he has, like, repeatedly admitted having sex with underage girls. There's a text conversation with Tristan Tate that he was sleeping with a 16-year-old girl, and at first she had lied about her age and she said that she was older than what she was, but when he found out that she was only 16, he didn't stop having sex with her. He said, as punishment for lying to him, he was gonna start having sex with her anally, okay? And this is his words in a text conversation with her, okay? This has been verified as this is Tristan Tate, okay? This isn't somebody who's just, like, made this up and, like, put some fake stuff there. Like, the evidence against them is overwhelming, okay? And there are victims that have come forward, but Tate keeps saying there are no victims, and nobody is saying this about him, and he keeps constantly lying to you lot. And it's amazing that you just believe his word and don't actually, like, even look at the stuff that he said in the past. You just believe him as if, like, you don't know that somebody who is accused of horrific crimes, like, if they're guilty, they're gonna lie about it, aren't they? They're not gonna tell you the truth.
So that's my question to you. Why is this guy different? You know why he's different? Because he hurt your feelings. This guy doesn't give a you-know-what about what anybody thinks. So he says what he thinks. And yes, are there posts where I look and I'm like, ooh, that was a little mean? Sure. So he's telling you what he thinks. He's one guy. Imagine being so intimidated by one guy that you're doing all this. What a way to send him a message, by the way. If this guy, if he didn't think he was super important before, you certainly have told him that he is by your constant attention and constant focus and obsession on everything that he does. He hurt your feelings, right? He talked about, oh, the older women aren't as attractive as the younger women. So what? So what? Who cares? Are you so fragile? Yes. He talked about the obesity and everyone who ate, 6 cheeseburgers and is overweight got upset. That's on you, not him. Right? And yes, he made comments that I would sit here and say, I don't agree with that. Wow, that rubs me wrong. Sometimes I agree. But I'm applauding, frankly, with some of the stuff he says politically. Then he said some stuff about Israel. And, that's an untouchable topic. And also, by the way, why are there untouchable topics? Why can't you talk about, the jab in a certain way? And why can't you have an opinion about Israel that conflicts with the majority of what mainstream conservatism feels about Israel? Why not? It's just an opinion. It's just one man's opinion. But it's threatening because this guy doesn't care. First of all, he's very smart. He speaks incredibly well. This is not a debate, right? Everybody knows it. He's able to convey his thoughts in a way that makes people think. He is a great debater. It's just reality. Agree with him or not, agree with his stand or not. He is good at what he does. And because his view is one that you don't like, that's intimidating to a lot of people. It's very intimidating. And because the investigation hasn't showed, everyone was like, yeah, get him. And then they didn't get him. So you're upset because you got your feelings hurt and you want him shut up. You want him to shut up. You want this guy is saying too much stuff that rubs you wrong. Your feelings got hurt. Your panties are in a bunch. You want him shut up. And now all of a sudden, the supposed conservatism that you rally for, oh yeah, freedom, innocent until proven guilty. You rally and people shouldn't be locked up in their houses because they make a different decision about, a jab or whatever. All of a sudden, that all goes out the window. And you want this guy's air travel restricted because you don't like what he says. Be honest. And you know what? I would have respect for you if you came out and said, listen, this guy rubs my emotions wrong. I can't handle it. He makes me crazy and I just need him to disappear. That's an emotional response.
Okay, listening to this lady, I cannot believe that anybody could possibly be this stupid. Okay, it's like, listen, right? The mean things that Andrew Tate tweets, or the sexist things, or the, I don't know, things about fat people or whatever, right? This is no different to what a lot of other people also tweet or also say in the red pill community. Like saying something like, oh, he doesn't think older women are attractive. Like, well, the entire red pill community is saying that. Or, saying stuff about fat people. There's lots of people on the right or in the red pill that say these exact same, like, controversial things, or anti-woke things, or whatever you call it. He's not, like, saying anything that's particularly unique or anything different to what the rest of them are saying. And you actually believe that people want him locked up for saying mean words when, like, if Andrew Tate disappeared off the face of the earth tomorrow, there'd still be plenty of other people saying the exact same things, right? And I just cannot believe this woman is so stupid. It's like, no, dear, the reason why people get emotional on the subject of Andrew Tate, the reason why people get angry, why people get frustrated, why people don't want him, like, being allowed to travel, why people want him locked up, is because he's a bloody sex trafficking rapist who anally and orally raped a 15-year-old girl and strangled her until she went unconscious. That's what he's accused of. Now you can say, oh, innocent until proven guilty, but considering the fact that we've heard Andrew Tate himself admit to loving strangling women and loving how much they hate it, considering the fact that he's been accused of that from numerous different women who don't know each other and can't have interacted with each other and have said it at different times, so they can't have got together and came up with a story together, considering the fact that he's openly bragged about sleeping with 15-year-old girls, considering the fact that he's basically admitted to sex trafficking, considering the fact that we've seen God knows how many videos of him hitting women, and the fact that he loves inflicting pain on women, given all that, I'm inclined to believe the allegations, yes. Not because I #believe all women, but because I'm believing a lot of the stuff that's come directly out of Andrew Tate's mouth, okay? That's why people don't like him. That's why people want him locked up. And you're so bloody stupid that you think that, oh, he said a few mean tweets and you want him locked up because of that. It's like, newsflash, lady, there's a lot of people saying mean tweets, probably even meaner than what Andrew Tate says. He's not anything, like, special there.
But you would be owning it, right? You'd recognize your own weakness, that you can't listen to this opinion without losing your mind. You'd be aware of it. You'd put it out there and you'd say, this is my reality. I'm sorry. I just need this guy to go away. You'd be honest, but that's not what you say. What you say is, no. There's justification for me to call myself a freedom fighter and a freedom lover, and at the same time want this guy to sit down and shut up, be relegated to, Romania, not be, as an American citizen, be able to travel, want a full, want all of these, victims. And I say this in quotation marks because nothing's been proven. You want all these victims to be automatically believed. You want it researched. You want morality to suddenly weigh criminality. Do a reality check on yourself, okay? I'm tired of all the fake conservatives of this. So I'm just telling you that there's a lot of phony out there. And a lot of that phony that I dealt with is right here on the Tate Stories. Pearl clutching. I see some of the pearl clutchers, by the way. Let me tell you, some of the meanest people you want to be. I know these people, a lot of them, okay? So they're not, and I love this too, because he went and he did the Fort Lauderdale interview. He went on the Valuetainment and all that. And they were like, don't give him a platform. Why not? Why not? And these same people are okay with interviewing politicians, the dirtiest. Politicians are filthy. People in entertainment. And they always say, well, interview them and bring them on and ask them tough questions. That's what we're all about. And, America, which, by the way, is sinking in a lot of regards. America, let's be honest, the home of the mandates. It's not what it used to be. But a lot of those people will always say, bring them on, ask the tough questions, but not this guy. Not this guy, because this guy hurt your feelings.
No, it's because this particular guy, nobody does ask him any tough questions, do they? The people that invite Andrew Tate on for an interview, blow smoke up his ass, suck up to him something chronic, tell him what a special role model he is, and just give him a platform to tell lie after lie after lie. Like, the very first interview was Candace Owens, and she could not have got further up Andrew Tate's ass if she tried, and just gave him a platform to lie. When he went on Tucker Carlson's show, Andrew Tate sat there and told Tucker Carlson that he is not charged with any sexual crimes when he is charged with sex trafficking and rape. Okay, he sat there and lied.
What are you charged with? That's a really good question. I'm charged with being the head of an organized criminal group, which is in charge of recruiting girls to make TikTok videos to steal the money from the TikTok views.
Recruiting girls to make TikTok videos and stealing the money. So it's really a financial crime?
First of all, just curious your take on that. Is that what he's charged with, the head of a crime group, to make girls do TikTok and take money?
No. He's charged with forming an organized crime group to sex traffic women, and he's charged with rape.
In Romania?
Yes.
So there's no, just to be clear, you are not accused of pandering, of pimping, of forcing women to have sex with anybody?
No, not forcing them to have sex, not restraining their movement.
So Tucker Carlson says, so you're not charged with pandering or pimping or forcing people to have sex. What are your...
Even if you're defending Andrew Tate, you cannot deny that he is lying, okay? Because it's quite easy to prove, okay? When he went on the Benny Johnson show, Benny Johnson basically introduced Andrew Tate as this poor, hard-done-by guy who's spent time in a Romanian prison for no reason, okay? And again, just let him lie. When Andrew Tate went on some podcast with that's hosted by two twins, I'm not really familiar with them, but he just told, in the space of few minutes, he just told lie after lie after lie, and they didn't. Not only do they not challenge him, but they don't even ask him any questions, because Gadget, he did a video about this. And because he counted how many lies Andrew Tate told in the space of just a few minutes, it was over 100 lies Andrew Tate had told, and they just sat there and let him lie after lie after lie. Okay, that is the problem with when people interview Andrew Tate. Okay, is that they don't challenge him on anything. not so many people would be bothered by the Tates being interviewed if people challenged them on stuff. That is more the issue. It's not, oh, he hurts people's feelings and that they're against free speech. Like, the reason people get angry is because, like, the subject of rape, but particularly when it's against, like, teenage girls that are not even adult yet, this makes people very, very angry, okay? So when they have Andrew Tate on and people suck up to him somewhat chronic and treat him like he's special and wonderful, when he's done just the most evil stuff ever, yeah, that's what makes people livid, okay? It's not, oh no, he said some hurtful things. It's like they shouldn't, he should be locked up. I think he should be locked up forever. I don't think he should be allowed out, him and his brother and other people involved in this. I think they're about as evil as a person can get. They definitely shouldn't be being hero worshipped and told what a great role model they are for young men. That is the issue people have with the Tates. It's not about freedom of speech. These aren't, just a few guys saying a few misogynistic things or a few anti-woke things. These guys are dangerous, evil, okay. So that's all I got to say about that for now. Thank you for listening.